because today, like I said, July 31st every year, 4 o'clock is the trade deadline. Now, baseball's a little weird because there's always a ton of trades that happen, and you can still technically trade players, but you got to drop them to waivers, and there's a little bit more of a process. But today at 4 o'clock, no teams are allowed to trade anymore after that. So let me run down some of the bigger trades that happened. Now, it seemed like this year the Boston Red Sox decided that they wanted to hold a fire sale and all players must go. In the past 15 days, the Red Sox have enacted at least 5 or 6 trades. I mean, it's amazing. They pretty much were like, hey, if we were good on our team, we're going to get rid of you because we suck this year. But, yeah, so that was interesting. So that was one of those. Huh?
And they want to suck more?
The reason they're doing this is because a lot of the times, the reason the MLB trade deadline is so big is because a lot of teams, especially teams that are not really going to make the playoffs, they'll trade off some of their better players that are on the last year of their deal or only have a year left because they're afraid that they're going to leave them anyway, and then they're going to get nothing from them if they leave them and not trade it. So a lot of times you'll see them trade off good players just so that they don't have to worry about just losing them. They can at least get something back. That's why you'll see a lot of players being traded for prospects, because you can develop those players a little bit in your farm system. And, if it doesn't work out, not that big of a deal. If it does work out, then, hey, you got a good player. So let's start off with a couple of the trades. Now, my opinion for the biggest trade of the day was, again, was the Tigers actually traded to get David Price. David Price is the 2012 Cy Young Award winner for the AL from the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay, past couple of years, have been pretty darn good. This year, they're at the bottom of the AL East. So they're thinking, hey, Price is up to go after this year. He's probably going to go to the Yankees because Yankees just pay everybody a ton of money, or the Red Sox. I mean, you could go either one of those places because they'll pay him $100 million and he'll be happy. But so he went to the Tigers, which really, oh man, the Tigers are setting up for a great playoff run. He's in addition to Scherzer and Verlander and Porcello, and they're just stacked when it comes to their starting pitchers. But so the Tigers got David Price. Now this was a 3-team trade. Mariners got Austin Jackson, kind of a prospect. He can play, but he's not that great of a level. And the Rays got Drew Smyly and Nick Franklin, 2 prospects. So that was a pretty big deal. You usually don't see that caliber of pitcher going at the trade deadline, but that was pretty interesting.
It still surprises me too, though, that the trade deadline is so late in the season. It's still only 2 months out from the playoffs.
Yeah, but you still. I mean, when we say late in the season, they still have about 60 games left, so that's most sports' whole season.
More than halfway through the season, kind of a weird time to have an end of trade. Like, if they're going to do it that far, why not just trade all the way through?
But I mean, I get your point, but they got to stop it somewhere. They got to solidify the roster somewhere. But really, you see this in baseball more because you can plug players in without it affecting team chemistry more than you can in other sports. Like basketball, all 5 players have to be able to move together, and they have to really get a rhythm for each other. So you don't see as many trades at the trade deadline. Football's the same thing. There's more to learn. There's more set plays and everything. Baseball, if I'm a pitcher, it's just go pitch. What signals do you like? Okay. If you're an outfielder, it's go stand out there, catch the ball if it gets hit to you. If we call a shift, just move over this way and hit the ball. I mean, it's not as much it's a team sport, but it's not as much of a team sport as it is an individual set of guys put together to make a good team. I'm
just surprised that they allow it this late, and if they're going to allow it this late, why not just keep allowing it forever?
Yeah, I mean,
always.
You gotta,
trade in the middle of a game.
I don't know.
In the middle of the World Series.
That would be interesting. It'd be like, we know you're not in the World Series right now, but that guy was really good this year. Can we have him for just a series? Sure, here you go. So, but that would be interesting. And some of the other big deals that went on, the Nationals and the Indians made some trades. The Nationals got an infielder. Now, I'm going to butcher this name. It's Ostrudrubal. Yeah, whatever. Comments down below tell me how horrible I am at pronouncing names. Ostrudrubal Cabrera, who is an infielder. Really, he's been being brought in to replace Ryan Zimmerman, who's gone out again with a hamstring injury this time, I believe. And they traded away a prospect named Zach Waters. So, again, the prospect for a player who's going to be able to step in immediately and help the Nationals with their playoff run, because they are about a game and a half back from the Atlanta Braves, and it's been back and forth roller coaster ride all year with those two. So they really could use extra bat and a little bit more help in the infield. Another big trade today was Boston Red Sox. This is probably one of the bigger trades. They got Chewbacca Chainsaw previous award winner Yoenis Cespedes and a 2015 draft pick for Johnny Gomes and John Lester. Now, John Lester, he's not an amazing pitcher. He's not going to just blow the doors off, but he is a good left-handed pitcher, and they have a lot of right-handed pitchers there in Oakland. They could use that lefty in there just to throw a change of pace. And Johnny Gomes is a decent outfielder, so he'll be able to fill in pretty well for Yoenis Cespedes. But Cespedes, I mean, this guy's a beast. I mean, and he's still under contract for the next couple of years, so don't quite see what Oakland was doing, but Billy Beane knows more than me. That's why they made a movie after him. So
I don't know. Maybe he's getting a little senile.
Little crazy there.
I don't know.
Maybe that movie money went to his head. He's like, yeah, they made a movie about me. I can do no wrong. But yeah, I mean.
But hey, you can't do wrong with the Chewbacca Chainsaw Award winner. Wait, they just traded him away. So yeah, you can do wrong by getting rid of them.
Lots of wrong, yeah. But they are stacked in the outfield. I think 2/3 of that outfield was all-stars, so that means 2 of the 3 players. But, I mean, Johnny Gomes is a good player. He's a good hitter as well, so he'll fit in nicely there. But Cespedes, I believe he was locked up for another 3-4 years under contract, so I don't know. I don't quite agree with that. And they've already got plenty of pitchers. They did trade for Smarja and Hamill earlier this year to kind of solidify that lineup, but can't blame them for wanting to go out and get another ace. I mean, and Lester was kind of the Boston Red Sox ace this year, so it's not too surprising. Now, again, Boston all over the news. They did another trade with St. Louis, which was very interesting to me because they lost to St. Louis last year in the World Series. Or no, they beat St. Louis last year in the World Series. I'm sorry. And I just wouldn't want to make a team that's a potential rival any better.
Well, unless you think that you're getting better because of it and they're getting worse. Like, if you think you're not going to make a trade unless you think you're getting something beneficial out of it.
Well, no. Again, they're trying to get rid of people that are about done with their contracts. And I mean, this is what the Red Sox are pretty much doing. This is what I see them doing. They're getting rid of all these guys that might be up with contracts next year so that they can pay an exorbitant. They're probably going to spend $100 million in free agency next year. I mean, that's what the Red Sox do. That's what the Yankees do. They just throw mad wads of cash at free agents. They're like, here, take more money and more money. And, so that's what it looks like they're going to do. And if you remember, I believe it was 2 years ago, they were at the bottom of the AL East, pretty disappointing season. And then last year they won the World Series. And then this year they were the bottom of the AL East. And so does that mean next year they're going to win the World Series?
I mean, the Red Sox traditionally have been in the World Series quite a bit. So, I mean, they're one of those big teams in baseball that...
Well, the past 10 years, but they had the whole, we didn't win for 85 years. Shut up, I don't care.
They didn't win the series, but they made it to it a number of times.
And they were always good, so, But, yeah, that trade I was talking about with St. Louis, they traded first baseman Alan Craig. Boston got first baseman Alan Craig and right-handed pitcher Joe Kelly, and they traded away John Lackey, another very solid starting pitcher, and Corey Luttrell and cash. I never quite understand how this cash thing works. It's like, okay, we're going to give you this much money, but I guess it's really to help them pay off the contract for one of these other players for taking them off their hands. But I never understood how you trade cash. It's like
it's called an exchange, Brian. Sometimes you have to supplement.
Not the stock market. All right.
Cash. I make cash.
You got to give cash.
Sometimes I go to the store and I trade them cash for goods. Just today, I bought an Arizona watermelon drink, and I paid for cash. Actually, I didn't. You know what? I paid with a credit card.
So nobody uses cash anymore. Like, do they shit? Like, is it $1 million? Like, I want $1 million in non-sequential 20s delivered to my house, or else no trade. Like, is that how it goes? I don't know.
Now it just sounds like trafficking. I don't know. Meet me behind there. I'll give you amazing player. You bring me suitcase filled with cash. No one has to know.
But like I said, Boston also did 6 trades in the past 15 days. So they also did a trade with Baltimore. very inconsequential, and New York. So it's like, hey, if you're a rival of ours, we're gonna trade with you. Like maybe they're poisoning those teams on purpose, huh? Maybe that's how they're doing it. They're like, all right, we're gonna trade them these guys, and then pay those guys on the side to be horrible for those teams so that they can be better later.
That sounds like a Red Sox thing
conspiracy. To do. It does sound like a Red Sox thing to do. Because last year they were like, we want the Red Sox to clinch, and win the series in Boston. They haven't done that in 100 years. It's like, shut up. But you won it 3 times in the past, 10 years. Shut up. Why don't you come to D.C. where we haven't won anything for the past 23, 4, 5 years? Yeah, it sucks.
Ever?
Yeah, we've won stuff.
What?
Sometimes. Well, the last championship we had was 91 for the Redskins.
Okay, well, hold on. Okay, but baseball?
Oh, baseball, never. Never. I mean, the last time the Orioles, that would be considered kind of a Washington team, won anything, I believe was the 79-80, so it's been quite a while. Quite a while since we won anything. And there's a bunch of other little trades that I have written down here, but you know what? Oakland making some trades. Again, they got an outfielder, Sam Fold, for a pitcher from, and they sent Tommy Malone over to the Twins. A bunch of non-consequential things. Most people wouldn't know most of those names, but I was actually kind of surprised with the price. Cespedes, Johnny Gomes, John Lester, John Lackey. You had some pretty big trades out there today, so it was a pretty interesting time at the trade deadline. But let us know of any trades that we might have missed out on that you think I should have talked about. What do you think about this whole trading for cash? What would you do with the cash?
Where would you get the cash?
Yes, where would you get said cash? Let us know. Let us know in comments down below. Of course, at WordsMyFace on Twitter, wordsmyface@gmail.com, Google Plus, and Facebook. All things.